Hey crypto bros, we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be covering massive news. We see that debt is its all-time high. People are struggling to keep up, as you can see from this chart. Many people right now have maxed out their credit cards, and even 2 jobs is not enough to cover the debt. Every time we see debt indicators like this hitting all-time high, we had a huge downturn in the economy. People are struggling. They have to go and get 2 jobs even to maintain themselves, which is very crazy to think that even 2 jobs is not enough to help you cover all the debt that you have maxed out. That's crazy. And what we've seen is that when we have huge downturn in the economy, the Fed has to come out and start printing more money. Now, the Fed doesn't want to admit that we have been in a recession for the past few months. Mr. Jerome Powell does not want to admit the fact we have been in the slump with rising inflation rate following high interest rates. More people are coming out saying we will have a mild recession, but I don't think that that will be the case here. Never in history have we faced high inflation rate with mild interest rates. There's a lot of uncertainty, but what I can say is that with Bitcoin, we can hedge ourselves against the Fed. What I can say is that I have to do my part in fighting the uncertainty with the crypto market, as we are constantly seeing innovation happening in this space. Why wouldn't I want to do my homework so that I can fight the Fed's inflation rate? These are the signs of the times. When we see debt at its highest, we have bank failures because normal day-to-day person is not able to pay off their debt. And we see the Fed continually reward bad behavior, just as they did with 0% interest rates during the surveillance sickness. What I can say is being here for a couple cycles before the bull market starts and the halving takes place, we start to see that asset managers become very bullish. They become extremely bullish on Bitcoin. When a few months back, they say, no, Bitcoin is a big problem for the United States dollar and that it should be regulated to the teeth. We start to see some of these hedge funds become bullish on crypto market. We start to see partnerships. We see partnerships like MasterCard expanding into crypto, creating more programs, onboarding more users to crypto. This is the sign bullishness. We start to see all these announcements, all these partnerships come into place. The market does a 180 turn and goes from this bearish sentiment and goes back to the roots of the first principles of Bitcoin. This is why I am bullish on Zen, because it applies the fundamentals of what Bitcoin is meant to be. It is to be fair, easy access to onboard into crypto, and provides financial inclusion no matter where you are around the world. That is the first principles of Zen. We see that Zen is continuing to expand, that it's going to be on more chains like Arbitrum and Optimism. You can play with the testnet and get used to, if you're not already familiar, playing with these other chains like Polygon, Avalanche. I've never seen an asset become so widely available on so many other chains than what Zen has been doing. It has such a fast-paced environment. We're going to be coming out with a lot of projects that are going to be burning more Zen, and that's just going to benefit the whole overall of the Zen ecosystem. So very cool stuff. You don't want to be missing what's happening with Zen. Let's take a look at the chart, see where we are heading. Now currently Zen is facing back into that support structure we've been discussing here. We said we want to consolidate in this region on the lower time frames so that we can try retesting this resistance area. Now there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets with what's happening with Bitcoin facing that key psychological level of $30,000. I did make a tweet. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, I do make tweets, trade calls that you do want to follow up. I did say here on April 21st, short-term bounce can be expected for Bitcoin. Main resistance coming around the 29,300 area. Higher time frame downside pressure is still in play, guys. That psychological key level of $30,000 is still in play. And if we look here, You know, we were bouncing again. We were at this key area and we said we are due for a bounce. And we went about 11% from that swing low to the swing high. Again, where did we see sellers come into the market? Well, we saw sellers come into the market around the 30,000 area because it's such a psychological key level. We have some resistance here. And if we go back, right, if we go back on the daily or even on the weekly, you can see there's a little bit of a resistance for us here, resistance here. But what I can say for sure is that if we can turn 30,000 into support, right, get above 30,000, which we did for a bit, you know, a few days here. However, we went back below it. The buyers weren't too confident. The sellers came in. The bulls weren't confident in this, and we had a drive down to around $26,000, which is a good support area to try and consolidate in this area and try to break that psychological key level. Sometimes we have to range in these close areas in order to get above. We have to feel that sentiment come in. The buyers need to push us above these key psychological levels. And if we can turn that into support, I'm looking at $40,000 area as key resistance at that point. Does that spell for overall altcoins? Well, most likely it's going to shed some percentages off again from of these alts in order to push Bitcoin a bit higher. The sentiment again goes back to the root of Bitcoin. And then hopefully if Bitcoin does have these small consolidation areas, then we can start to see a little bit of a small alt run. And then hopefully get some percentages off of these alts at the end. There's a lot of bearish sentiment around that $30,000 area. You want to follow me on Twitter because I do come out with updates in regards to this. I even came out with a call in regards to DXN. Again, saying DXN downside pressure remains with hidden bearish divergence. A close below 60 spells slip below the range lows. And that's what we had, guys. We were around the $66 area. We fell below the 60 mark area. And that I said that we would fall way below the 44 range lows, guys. So if we go back at our chart, that's what happened, guys. We fell below this right here, the range lows, guys. And where did we come down to as support right now? It's around $33. What we are seeing is that on the lower time frames, around the 6 hour and 8 hour, we are starting to develop regular divergence where you're putting in higher lows on the stochastics and you're putting in lower lows on price action. Now, this does seem like a good support area for DXN. However, if Bitcoin does take a hit and it can't get above $30,000 area, or if Zen in this case can't hold these key support area that we've been discussing here, then we're going to see a lot of sellers come into the market and then drive us below to $22 area. Now, I don't want to see, again, DXN drive below $22. There's a lot of innovation happening with DXN in the short to medium term with the DXN NFTs that are going to be coming out where you can actually burn and participate more into the DXN ecosystem. Again, I don't want to see this continuing to drop. I would like to see this get momentum, try to retest these areas. Now, let's go back just briefly here on the Zen chart. Now, we can talk about some support structures. We can take our swing low to swing high, and we can see if we were to fall below the 236 area, the next key target area of support comes in around the 50 percentile. Now, at this point, a lot of people are going to be flushed out coming down to this area. I don't want to see this because right now what we're doing is we're building these higher low on the 2-day and the daily, and you're building these flag structures just like this, guys. Flag structures that can push us a lot higher. I don't want to see again Zen fall below the support area. If we were, then the next support structure comes in around 23352 area to 50 percentile of 243. Now this drive will take us around 40%. That's a lot. You're losing a lot of your stack here, guys. From the swing high, you're losing about 76%, and that's why I was stating, look, you can take some profits, get back into Zen at lower prices. There's nothing wrong with taking profit and applying risk management. Anyways, I'll leave you off with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Until next time, bros, as always, stay profitable.